my favorite.
So
All right.
I think we have one more that we got to click on, right? Yep.
That's true.
I don't know.
You guys are so fortunate to have Angie, by the way. She is amazing. Like hardcore knowledge and energy. I love it. Ton of
These
fun.
guys, you're gonna love these guys. It's so fun to see this group. This is actually basically second time through Ignite for the most part. We've got some, but they're coming as a pack and they're taking care of each other, and then they're gonna take care of the ones that are coming in. It's so cool.
That's KW.
Yes, it's gonna be awesome. Have fun, you guys.
See you later.
Thank you.
No, Angie though, for real, is a ton of fun. Hold on, how do we? This one over here. Oh, thank you. Even coming in today, I was listening to you all doing your scripts again. I'm like, oh yeah, I really need to be remembering this because in the last couple of months, I've had a couple of situations where had I used these lines and thinking about everything in terms of like alternatives, it would have simplified and saved time for everybody. So these are really important, and I'm actually gonna need to go through them again. Anyways, yeah, so I'm Sean Shoemaker. I've been an agent now for a couple of years, and I actually got my first client from an open house. So open houses are near and dear. They're very important for me in my lead generation process. Everybody tends to have some of their favorite ways that they find and identify their new clients. Open houses tends to be it for me. I will say, like, I have a model home right now. We're essentially doing open houses with the model home. That's what we do. And it has surprised me the impact that you can have with open houses with your client. It helps build credibility in your sales process and the value that they are receiving from you. But then also it's really helped identify those new leads, and the clients have been very loyal from it. Anyways, so yeah, we're going to do the clicker in the right direction. Yeah, so we're still lead generation and we're doing open houses today. We're going to cover a few different things. So we're going to talk about how to capture a lead in the open house, what the best practices are, prepare, prospect, pursue, and yeah, we'll go through it. All right, so I think you guys have kind of gotten the idea. The most important thing in your business is what? Is leads. It's what will give you stability in your business. It's what will allow you to behave as the best agent as you can, because you're not desperate for a sell. You're not having commission breath. That's a horrible thing to have. If you can keep your lead flow really healthy, you'll be able to do a really good job for your client. So let's talk about open houses and limiting beliefs behind it. So we have a few listed here. What are some other ones though, when it comes to open houses, of reasons why we may not do them or feel like we can't do them? So obviously, you know, if you don't have a listing, you can't hold an open house. Is that true?
I gotta go find them.
Yeah. Can you talk about that?
Angie taught us to look for alerts of just listed homes on the MLS, and then we can reach out to the agents and ask them if they want us to run it.
So can you talk to us about how that's gone for you? Have you done
I
that?
have not done it yet.
Okay.
Actually, she gave me one at first to run this week.
Good.
But she taught me beforehand to check.
Awesome. And I don't know everyone's name, so can you guys say that?
Natalie, my name's
Natalie, hi.
I reached out to somebody last week and they ghosted me and didn't respond back at all.
Really?
Yep.
That is interesting. Side note, beside lead generation, other most important thing, equally, communication. You will earn more money if you can communicate well with everybody, client, other realtors. Go ahead.
So I've had a few successes with reaching out to agents.
Okay.
I just look to see what's been recently listed, and it doesn't look like there's no open house that's been scheduled. And so I've gotten most of my open houses through. I'll like reach out to them, but even if I can't do that specific one, they'll reach out to me about a different one or ask me to do open houses. And so I found a lot of success doing that.
Awesome.
I would say everybody's different.
For sure. Does anybody else have any other ways that you've been able to identify? I have a couple. Ones that I have found, keep in mind, like, especially at Keller Williams, we tend to have a lot of like team agents or partnerships, but also solo agents. So I'm a solo agent. And one of the challenges of being a solo agent is you're wearing all of the hats that a team can support you in. And sometimes you're just honestly really tired and you can't do the open house. You need to take time and not do the open house. So if I were you guys, what I would do is I would get to know who some of the solo agents are that are doing well in business and identify them and just talk with them. I can promise you we keep a short list of who we reach out to. And not everybody is always available, but identify a good solo agent that could use some help. Other ways that I would go about finding an open house is look for the listing that's around 20 to 30 days old. Okay. They've likely already had an open house. They probably have had some interest, but at this point, the seller is beginning to get nervous. And what does the agent need to be able to provide for their seller? Confidence, value that we are providing a service. We are marketing your property. We're putting in all the effort. That agent will likely gladly welcome an open house. So be sure to reach out to those agents. Even if they're not available that weekend, let's say they're holding the open house, you can maybe piggyback off of their open house and just continue it. You know, you can go in before or after or the next weekend. But I would think about those. Let's talk about signs. Who here has used the excuse of, I don't have any signs? Yeah. And on top of that, there are other agents in the office. The listing agent will likely have signs if you need to borrow. I know for a fact my garage has signs. It drives me absolutely crazy. I will gladly lend out the sign, even if you're not doing my open house. You guys can call. That's not an issue. I live in Lehigh. It's fine. Go ahead.
Is there an issue to having too many open houses on a single property?
No,
Never.
to me, there is not. Couple reasons why is that it shows your client that you're taking their home seriously and that you're putting time and effort into it. Reason number two is you're marketing within that neighborhood and they are seeing the open house signs. And the third reason is that it's more conversation opportunity. Now, if you're doing like every single day in a row, that's probably too much. But if you're going once a week, that's going to be perfectly fine. I actually have done that for a listing and we got offers every single weekend that we did the open house. My seller didn't want to accept those offers. We did get the home sold, but we did 5 in a row. No issue. I may not know the answers to questions visitors have. I invite you to look at Google. You will solve pretty much everything with Google. You're fine.
Another way, well,
Yeah, no. Shoot.
as when I've done it for another agent, they've asked me if they would be available. So we had a
Mhm.
question, and the answer, most of the time they say, yeah, absolutely, with my number.
They want to be available. I would agree with you on that. And the other thing too is the majority of questions that you're going to have about a listing really is available in the agent full report on the MLS. Unless the agent did not properly fill out their listing, which that's a different conversation. Open houses don't work because most people look online. Is this true or false?
Mine were all online. They're okay, if they saw it online and they came in.
Yeah.
Like the-
So everybody looks at houses online. Some of us are doing it 2 a.m. Some of us are doing it at dinner, but we're all looking at houses online. But ultimately, what does somebody do when they want to buy a house? They go look at it. Even investors, they're going to eventually go look at the house. And I won't feel safe. This is a legitimate thing that some people have had. We can talk more about that of what we need to do to make sure that we are safe. You know, you are in a home, in a stranger's home. We need to be careful. But let's go on. Oh, gotta point this way. Wrong way? Sorry. I'm going the wrong way, huh? Nope.
Nope.
We're good. Okay, let's talk more about who's benefiting from the open house. Can you guys tell me why these people are benefiting?
Sellers obviously, because they either just wanna move or wanna buy another house or
Mhm.
whatnot.
How about the buyers? How are they benefiting? Go
Well,
ahead.
I think if they're unrepresented, they don't have an agent to schedule a showing for them, so then when
It's
it
true.
comes through, this is like an opportunity, and then even better, you can represent them.
Which would be awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
Win-win.
How do the neighbors benefit from open houses?
They can bring their friends, they can pick their new
Yeah.
neighbors.
They can pick their new neighbor. Other reasons why neighbors benefit from open houses, and it's really normal to have the neighbors come into your open house. In fact, I would encourage it. It gives them an idea of what a home in their neighborhood is actually worth. Okay, a lot of people have this idea of what their home's value is because they built it up in their head. But people will walk into another home and that home will either be nicer, the same, or not as good as their home. And then they will see that price and it will give them a clear understanding.
Yesterday, I had neighbors come through and they actually were informed about stuff that was happening in their neighborhood. that
Uh-huh.
They didn't previously know, so they got a lot of information.
Oh, really? That's a huge deal. Yeah, that I feel like this is just an opportunity to do what? It's to serve. Okay, so as long as we are service oriented. You're providing information, you're providing value. It'll help and it will bring you business and you will actually get referrals from neighbors, by the way. Even if your neighbor is not the buyer. Okay. How does it benefit you, the agent? Leads. Like, we don't work for free at the end of the day. Okay, so it is practice. But even on your own open house, so like it can help you generate more leads. All right, so here are the main reasons why I really like open houses. They're really inexpensive. So there's a lot of different lead generating tools out there, and you'll need to pay services for links or leads from Zillow or whatever. Open houses are essentially free. You can make them as cheap as you want or as expensive as you want. I know some agents who like to do really big event open houses. I haven't done that. But I do know for a fact it's worked great for them. But my open houses are usually less than $50 per time, which is worth it. And that includes like drinks, advertising it. It's really not a big deal. Yeah. The other reason why I really like it too is real estate is really a relationship business. And it allows you to create relationships with a buyer beyond just an online text or email communication back and forth. Can you guys think of any other benefits of holding open houses? Okay. Let's go into some best practices. All right. So an open house is going to need to have an outcome. What is your guys' desired outcome for each open house?
Bring a buyer for the agent to show.
Correct. That's number one. And leads. Yeah, we need to remember that first we need to help the seller, the property owner, get their home sold. But in conjunction with that, identify and bring leads. So that's really the goal. This could also be represented by, I like to have X number of conversations. Do you guys have, what is your daily conversation count that you guys are trying to have right now? I need to be better about this myself. 10. Yeah, that's fine. Are we hitting that? So if you're falling behind, an open house is a really good way to boost your numbers for the week. Let's think about which properties are going to be ideal to hold open houses for.
I think I shared my horrible experiences.
Can you tell? Actually,
Oh,
I'd
yeah,
like
I've
to,
got-
I'd
I've
like
got
to
a
hear one.
couple.
Okay,
One is, it was a cute house. I did not Google the area, which I should have.
okay,
It was right next, I mean, like, that was sitting on the railroad tracks.
okay.
In a not great area of town, and it was probably priced beyond the area. So,
Okay, this brings up a really good point. So before you put time and energy into an open house, we need to do a market analysis to make sure we're not wasting our time.
and find out the location. And then the second one, I don't know, but it wasn't anybody's fault. It just turned out horrible. It was the agent that I was showing for had paid to have someone come in and clean it. It was absolutely the most disgusting home I have ever been in, and I've been in bad ones.
Yeah,
And I sat my little chair in the doorway and prayed no one came, and nobody came, because it was, and they weren't happy. I mean, it was just not, I don't know what I could have done differently. I did my part. Sometimes it's just gonna be that way.
so I do have some thoughts about how we pick the house, because I've done open houses for some scary homes. And I've done them for really nice houses. here's one thing I've learned in this job is that what we define as a home is not necessarily what somebody else defines as a home. But what we know is that this house is worth roughly this, and this house is worth roughly that. Just because a home is near a railroad track does not make it a bad house to hold an open house on. My first home was actually near a railroad track. Best purchase I ever made, I would do it again in a heartbeat. 100%. Would I live it next to it right now? No, but would I buy it? Absolutely. One thing that I would think about with open houses is the home in a price bracket that is getting good action right now. Okay, we want to think about, because open house is kind of a volume game, okay? Are there going to be a lot of people who could potentially afford this property? If the answer is yes, that to me is a really good candidate for, I want to reach out to this agent and see if I can hold an open house for them. The other question is the house appropriately priced for what they are providing? If the answer is yes, within 5%, the answer is, I want to hold an open house. If it's overpriced by 10%, this is my own made up number that I personally have decided, you guys will have your own. The answer is no, I don't want to waste my time. If it's underpriced, it's probably already going under contract. Which people should listen to us and price their home a couple percent below market value if they want to get it moving. But anyway, so I would think about general appeal. Does the home have really good general appeal? Is it affordable by a lot of people? Who will want to buy it? And then when you pick the home, always ask yourself, who is my most likely buyer going to look like for this house when I want to advertise my open house? Without breaking any federal law of, defining buyers. But is this an investor home? Is this an owner occupied home? And go from there. Prepare and practice. So this is actually really nice too, also on sharing costs. So they're talking about inviting an inspector or a lender. I personally feel inviting a lender is going to be really beneficial to have involved. A lot of lenders don't necessarily want to attend the open house in the current market environment, but asking them to do a price mock-up of what monthly payments would look like for this property and providing their business cards, and maybe they can contribute $20 towards snacks. That does work out really nicely. Has everybody here identified a preferred lender or two for their own business? Okay, that is like going to be one of your most important relationships, because when they're your preferred lender and you're in a time crunch and you need to have answers quickly for your client, you know that if you're sitting in that house and you text your preferred lender, they will text you back mid-conversation so you can answer intelligently. They will usually want to help you prepare for the open house by providing you cost information. Another thing to be aware of as well is know what loan options are available for that open house, and and usually the listing agent will know, but find the lender that best fits the affordability of that home. A really good example is Zions Bank has a current loan program out right now that is neighborhood specific. Is anybody familiar with this? It's amazing. No private mortgage insurance, and the interest rates are not inflated, and the APR is still healthy. It is neighborhood specific with no income cap. I have 2 houses currently under contract that would not be under contract purely because of this loan program. So when you look at an open house, just ask the agent, hey, are you aware of any special lending available? Because that's going to help you market the home better, but it'll also help give you credibility as a knowledgeable realtor to any unrepresented buyer.
Where are you at doing your homes?
Say what?
Where are you at doing your homes?
In which
Are
regard?
you in Lehigh or like?
Oh,
where are you
like,
doing houses? Yeah.
I am all over.
Oh, okay, I just didn't know if you were doing for like a specific builder.
Oh, I have a builder, yeah, so I'm with Alpine Homes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you guys should totally come, like, feel free to stop by, I'll show you what we have. We pay a great commission for the record.
Just because I saw a bunch where they were offering like, the other day, I was reading one that said $10,000
Uh-huh.
towards, buying down points and stuff, because there's a lot of that.
Yeah, that's pretty expected in the current market.
Yeah,
Yes, I'm with Alpine Homes in Spring Run. And we're offering between $20,000 and $24,000 in total incentives at this point.
Spring?
It is on the border of Eagle Mountain and Saratoga
That's where I
Springs.
was, my house I just did was out there, so. I
Oh,
could see all
awesome.
the stuff. Mhm.
Did you do it for Lane Thompson?
No,
Oh.
I had a home.
Oh, you had,
Just-
okay,
Yeah, I
awesome.
just went under contract and we were competing with everybody out there. is
High
the
five.
Problem.
Yeah, the new construction's competitive right
Was
now.
kicking our butt.
Well, if you have a buyer, bring them on over.
Yeah.
So do you have
No.
a name for, that you work with designs specifically?
Yeah, Ross Farr.
Bar?
Yeah, and then that's a very neighborhood specific one. They have a map you'll look at. That loan program will not be around forever. These kind of programs come and go.
Yeah.
I work a lot with First Colony as well, though. And then there are other preferred lenders. This again is a relationship business, so, you'll develop them along the way. But be prepared though. So knowing the loan options for that home is important. Knowing if the home is FHA eligible. So if you're in a townhouse or a condo, you need to know ahead of time, is this house FHA eligible or not? If it's not, you might want to not hold that open house. You might want to focus on other one. Okay, let's talk about time. So tell me about your guys' lives. When are you the most busy and the least busy? Just normal. When are you most busy typically? Mornings, okay? When are you the least busy and most likely to want to randomly drop into an open house?
8 PM.
On what days? I've held late open houses. They've worked.
Mine's like 5 PM, honestly,
Yeah.
it's the least busy.
So if you're going to hold an open house during the week, make sure it's when people are not at work. And also, if you're going to hold it during dinner, advertise that you will provide them with some light food. But in the current market, what I would do is mainly focus on the weekend. Yes.
At, a good time,
Yeah.
and not during any activity.
Yeah, so let's actually talk about this. This is an interesting concept because just because you're on,
Lifetimes to get there.
well, and it's not just to get there though, because you'll be surprised. A lot of the traffic for your open house will already be out there in general.
Yes.
When people come out of city to your open house, it's usually going to be with an agent, or they're already very deliberately wanting to go out there for other open houses.
Yep.
But time of day matters. So let's pretend that we're only going to hold open houses on Friday night and Saturday in general right now, because of market conditions. Let's just set ourselves up for success. We want people to be free. On Saturday, what are going to be the best times to hold an open house and why? Or what are some considerations you're going to want to have for deciding the best time? Because it is not the same for every house.
1 to 3.
Why is it 1 to 3 and what kind of house?
It's for a family because they have kids and they have all their little sports things in the mornings.
Agreed. Now, what if this is a home that tends to attract families with little children? Again, we're not filtering buyers, but we're being pragmatic. You might want to go in at 11 to 2. That's another, yeah,
12 to 2 or 11 to 1 at Eagle Mountain.
Yep.
That's what time you have to do it.
it is, but for real though, it is, because if you do your open house too early, you're gonna just be sitting there waiting for people to come and you'll be bored until the last hour, and then you're gonna stay another 30 or 40 minutes longer than you planned, and then you're tired and your spouse is mad at you because you're late.
Cause you did get home for that extra hour it took to get home.
Exactly.
How's like
Oh, wait,
late
I might have
afternoon,
heard that.
early evening on Saturday, like 4 to
It
6?
depends the city that you're in. So let's say that actually can work out really well if the home is near a lot of the dining and
I
shopping.
was gonna say date night type stuff.
Yeah, if it's like even like, so I'm in Saratoga Springs a lot. If the home is within 10 minutes to Costco, you'll probably do great. You know,
Or Home Depot.
or Home Depot. Well, Home Depot is all day, but anyways. Okay, but now let's talk about a home though that's downtown. Let's talk about a condo downtown. When are you likely going to want to do that open house? And this is like gospel according to me, so your own experience might find different, but for me, it's found,
Where?
Salt Lake.
Oh, okay.
Not during a youth game.
And not in are we talking summertime when they're having their?
We're just talking weekends, doesn't matter time of year. So I would actually encourage you to do your open house around 10 AM.
Cause that's what everybody's out and about going to the farm.
They're getting brunch, going to the farmer's market, they're gone. They're just up earlier, out earlier and free quicker.
Yes.
So just keep that in mind. And if you need insight on this, ask the homeowner, hey, when are people usually hanging out together in the neighborhood? On a Saturday. They'll tell you when their friends schedule appointments. All right, market stats. So what are some of the stats that you need to know? Whenever you're talking to anybody about a listing, what do we need to know about the house? Market stat wise, not house, but the market.
General comps.
Yeah.
What's recently sold.
Yeah, take a few minutes and look at the comps. But again, we have already done that because we've already looked at comps when deciding if we wanted to commit to that open house. Sorry, I thought I turned my phone on silent. Sorry, this is a. Something happened?
No, it just sounds, the system sounds weird on the.
Oh,
It doesn't it echo?
Maybe that's.
oh, is there? I actually can't hear it up here.
Yeah, I know.
I hear it up here.
Oh, that would drive me nuts. You guys are doing good. You'll want to know like average days on market. Go ahead.
Would it be too much to prepare a CMA for something like that?
No, because I mean, you should be getting to a point when you're doing your CMAs, you should be able to do them very quickly. And then that way, if somebody says, oh, this house is overpriced, you know, in a non-combative way, you'll be able to speak to the value of the home.
Yeah, and you can have those like on every show. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, that just shows your level of preparedness, but I would try to avoid those conversations in the home, especially while you have other people around. Okay, the idea is to generate excitement in the home, get them emotionally invested in the home, and then help them make a data-driven decision. But build the emotion. Other market stats you might need to know. So we had days on market. How about how many other houses are available? How many homes are you competing with? Okay. So we can talk about safety here. Buddy system, obviously you want people to know that you're doing an open house. It's okay to check in with people, be aware. Some people like to hold open houses with other people, you know, having the loan officer in the home. I personally haven't felt the need to do that, but I also do try to avoid communities where I'm at risk. That is going to be the biggest. Yeah. I do know some of the other agents I've worked with, like females in particular, they will have another agent in the home with them, or they'll have their loan officer there, or they'll sit only in the front room, just other things like that.
They said, make sure that you're always behind them if you're uncomfortable.
Correct. Yeah, behind them, don't shut doors. If you're in the home alone and it's comfortable outside, leave the door partway open. It's also more inviting. But don't wander through the home with somebody if you feel unsafe. I have had only one client where I felt unsafe with. And I know, but this was a 6 foot tall. There is a lot happening with this person. Yeah, a lot happening. And that was one scenario where I did not actually feel safe touring the home with the client. So define your boundaries, stick to them. It'll help you be safe and it'll also make you a better agent because you have boundaries.
I get said, so this is gonna laugh, because I get there and we're just gonna be walking in the house and my client said, he talks like you are, by the way, and he goes, you wanna know? Rape doesn't happen by accident. Good thing you brought your partner with you. And I was like, yep, you're right.
Oh my gosh.
He's the nicest guy ever, but he's like, glad you brought somebody with you again.
You need to. Well, and
But I mean, it's true.
it is a real risk. Like you're meeting the general public. You don't know everybody that you're around.
Yeah.
And so if you don't feel safe, you know, take precautions to be as safe as you can be.
But I mean, he just spouted that off right as we walked in.
People say the oddest things sometimes. There will be times where you talk with people like, did I really just hear that? And the answer is yes, you did. And
We were dying. We're like, okay.
yeah.
Two.
So with that also in mind though, make sure that you're also keeping other people comfortable. So while you may be worried about your personal safety, I'm a man. How do you think a woman may feel walking in the home alone with me being the only other person in there? I give them space. Okay, so it goes a couple ways, all right? You want to have every light on, have the blinds up. It'll make the home look better unless the windows are crappy. It'll make the home look better, but also you're more visible. Okay. And yeah, does anybody have any questions about safety? I think this is just generally what we need to do in our normal lives anyways. Don't forget, it continues here.
Why park on the street and not in the driveway?
You don't want to get blocked into the driveway.
Okay.
And the other reason why is it makes your open house look busier to have a car on the street. And so people are more likely to pull in.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Those are my reasons. There may be other people's reasons for that, but that's my personal take. Any takeaways from what we've talked about so far? And by the way, if I'm focusing too much on like one particular topic, just be like, hey, move on. I don't care. I'll move on. Okay. Let's talk about preparation, prospecting, and going after those clients. All right, so I do agree with this statement. Most of the work for the open house is done before the open house. That's 100% true. Let's talk about steps of preparation. So here we have mindset, we have practice conversations, but there are other steps. How do we want to hold the open house? Do we have all the supplies for the open house? We'll go more into that, but let's start with mindset. So what should your mindset of the open house be? It can be different for each person, but what does your mindset need to be? Leads, okay,
Welcome.
welcoming. What else? So the goal, I would say, is sell the home and get leads. The mindset, I would say, is be service oriented, be positive. If you have your mindset in the right space, you will naturally begin to develop business as you consistently have a good mindset with action. Okay. What else do you need to have your mindset as? So for me, and this is my own personal experience, accepting. You can do a ton of work preparing for an open house and you may have no show. Are we okay with that? Yeah, that's life. Move on. It happens. Other part of mindset that we need to have though is again being service oriented, but also having our mindset of I'm an expert. Believe in yourself, you are there, show up, take up space, provide value. People can feel your energy, and if you're in the open house feeling insecure about your knowledge of a community, or if you're in the open house feeling overwhelmed because you're talking to a potential client who's honestly kind of steering the conversation the wrong way, other people will pick up on that. Your mindset should also not be commission oriented. Go ahead.
Okay, so I have a question. Please guide me on this. I have a lady. She's a lead. She's got some crap credit that somebody stole her stuff.
Okay.
She came while I was talking to an agent who my house is under contract with.
Okay.
This woman, we couldn't get her out.
Yes.
Could not get her out of the house. I'm like, Melissa, please go talk to her because I'm on the phone. with the
Yeah.
agent, and the agent's clients were there. And she would not stop talking.
Yep.
Like literally, I mean, I finally was doing the walk and talk, like walk and talk and guide
Correct.
you. Oh my gosh, we don't want to take up any more of your time, and it was so lovely of you.
Yep.
to come.
Were there other people in the home you said already?
Yes. The
So-
homeowners were home, and she's still.
She was.
Oh, she was still in the home.
Yes.
Honestly, you guys, at that point, we just had to set boundaries.
I mean,
Like people can get weird. They do.
Well, she been there, like, how, she been there an hour?
Yeah,
Like
like
a
half
Yeah.
of the open house,
And-
she was there.
And like, honest, I was serious, was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for coming, it was so nice to visit you. I don't want to hear about your whole life, everything, and I seriously was doing the walk and talk. Like, that
So
was the best I could do,
No,
was
it
walk
was
and
good.
talk.
was she a legitimate potential client?
Well, she is, but they've gotta get her credit.
Okay,
cleared up.
and by the way, people do get their credit cleared up when they're serious. Do not ever drop somebody just because
Oh,
of their
no,
credit.
I'm keeping her,
Yeah.
texting her,
Yeah.
I wanna keep her in a texting relationship right now.
Yeah.
I wanna come visit and hang out, cause there were other people there too, though.
Yeah.
While she was doing the. this
In
and-
those situations, I would say, hey, I want to be able to help you more. It's going to require a bit more time, but I also need to help these other people, or I need to speak with the
I mean,
homeowner
I
and
did
go
move
over it.
myself, but I stuck her with her.
Yeah,
Like, poor Melissa,
Yeah,
I'm like,
because
you
I
gotta
was
deal
there,
with
so I
her.
had to
Yeah.
entertain her. I was like.
you will have odd situations happen. And people may come to the open house that should not be at the open house.
Okay,
Okay, and the reality is that a lot of our job is having uncomfortable conversations.
it was tense. I mean, I was just like.
Well,
dying.
I've had a client going through a divorce and his ex-in-law showed up with moving boxes, emptying the house during my open house with other people in it. You guys, part of holding an open house is being able to adequately represent that house. And that also means kicking people out of the house gently.
I mean, that's why I was trying to
Yeah.
just do my gentle best to.
But sometimes we gotta be firmer. Okay? So it was very awkward having a van with the trunk open and boxes being moved out of the children's room. You have to have hard conversations, but you can do it nicely and professionally. But yeah, you just gotta get firm on those.
Okay,
And the reality too is you gotta get firm in general when,
but does it
There-
happen often?
no,
Okay, just checking. So that's probably one of my few that I'm gonna have to deal with.
once a year,
Crazy lady.
maybe once every other, you're gonna have weirdness. You'll have your crazies, but usually though, like you can get them moving. But like you will encounter odd things.
Okay,
Like we're dealing with the public, like,
well, yeah, I mean, I've dealt with the public for years,
Yeah.
but this was just.
Yeah.
The neighbors didn't know her because they never met each other.
Yeah.
Ever in the 10 years they lived there, but she was giving us like the whole lowdown of swearing about the family, and I mean, she's dropping the F-bomb, and I'm like.
ooh, yeah, so when people do that, you gotta clean it up. Really quick, are we here? I have this until 11 to 11:30, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. That would have been awkward. It's like, oh, shoot. So, okay, but let's come back to this, so mindset. Okay, so we've had our mindset in check. We know our purpose. We know the value that we are able to provide people. We are confident because we have already prepared. We are not insecure. We are powerful, knowledgeable, amazing agents there to kick butt. Okay. Conversation practice, we practiced our conversations. Other things to prepare is getting supplies for the open house. We'll go more into that.
There's something on the conversations.
Yeah.
When I originally spoke to the listing agent, I asked him specifically, hey, could you give me some of the pros? And it just specifically that, and then he just laid out everything he knew about the house.
Yep.
That helped me immensely, because then I didn't have to flounder the conversation. I could
Yeah.
just spit out facts and knowledge and just really give them that value instead of, how's your day going? Oh, cute kids. You know,
100%.
I just gave them straight knowledge, and that was helpful.
So let's talk about this. So on practicing conversations, and when we're delivering knowledge, what do we want to do when we deliver knowledge? We want to give them the information and build the emotion. These scripts that you guys have are designed to do that. Going over the scripts on your way and literally talking out loud in the car like a crazy person helps. It really does. Or doing it in a mirror, it helps. Practice the conversations. Practice talking about the house. Get excited. Be like, oh my gosh, this layout is incredible. Or you would not believe how amazing all the neighbors are. I already talked to them earlier this week when I was getting ready for the open house. You will love living here. Like practice those conversations internally. Oh, one other thing about preparing mindset, rituals. I would create a ritual. So I'm like in the last year, I'm becoming more focused on like ritual, frankly. And this is one area of my mindset that I'm trying to do more rituals. What are things that you guys do now to get your mindset in the right space? Ritual wise, do you have a ritual? So let's say you're having a really shitty day. What do you do to pull yourself out of it?
I have to talk myself out of it.
Do you literally talk out loud?
Yeah.
I do too. What do you
Go
do?
to the gym.
You go to the gym. Okay, so what else can you do?
I go to the gym. too.
You go to the gym. I need to go to the gym a lot more.
I just-
What about music?
Yes.
That's it.
Okay, so I have found to get my mindset in the right place, I'm literally playing the loudest rap or rock, whatever is super high energy and fits my mood at that time. And I will literally have my windows down. And I will be that annoying person at the stoplight and I don't really care. But because I am there to get the energy. Okay, so identify whatever it is that you need to do. If you are having nerves before the open house, you should do a run or go to the gym before you do the open house. Okay. Other things that, so just try and identify like what kind of ritual you can do before the open house. It'll also make it consistent then, and it'll become like normal. That wasn't really in the pamphlet, but that is just like a thing I found helpful. Okay, I actually go along a slightly different timeline than this. What I tend to do is, well, obviously you gotta select the home, identify the time that you're gonna hold the open house. I tend to start all my prep work on Wednesdays. That's just my normal week workflow. But I want all of my online advertisements up no later than Wednesday. Tuesday is ideal, but world's not perfect. It tends to be Wednesday. And let's talk about posting online. Where should we be posting this open house online and to who?
Facebook Marketplace
Facebook Marketplace?
and on your page.
Yes.
KSL.
KSL's money, you guys. Where else? Where'd you say?
MLS.
The MLS, yep. When you update it on the MLS, you get the benefit of all the Redfins and Zillows are also putting the open house. It'll help increase activity. I would join a lot of the Facebook groups that are around home selling in Utah.
I did a bunch, this last one, all of the like classifieds.
Yes,
I did, so the one I got the most hits off of was the American Fortune classified.
Yep. the indoor yard sale, or that one actually I don't think allows
I have
houses.
no idea.
Yeah,
but
one
I
of them
found
does, one of them doesn't.
I Posted it like the night before, and people were just like tagging people on it.
Yep.
I only had 2 people come, but they were generating conversations,
Correct.
and then they turned negative, so I actually had to pull the entire thing down. I was like,
Don't pull it down.
no,
All you have to
it's
do
not
is hide
close,
them.
though, So I.
All you
I
have
just
to do
deleted
is
the whole thing, 'cause I wasn't
Okay.
at my house anyways, so
In
I
the
just-
future, you can delete or hide those conversations. And you can flag them. You
So-
can moderate it.
Yeah, cause I was irritated. They were
People
like,
will get mad. They're like, oh, this house is
"We're gonna
overpriced.
cash this house." I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm not here for this. I just wait for
That will happen on every single listing you do,
I'm sure. it
no
will.
matter the
No,
market.
I know.
So
Yes.
don't
They
ever,
were talking about like not, I bought my house and it wasn't this and that. And I'm like,
like, good for you.
I know.
Go ahead.
Is Facebook Marketplace different from Facebook Classifieds? or
Facebook groups.
Yes,
Yeah,
so there are groups that you can post the marketplace ad to. 1, 2, so you go to the marketplace, you create your ad, and then you can share it to other groups that you're
Yep.
in that are like sales related.
so do you guys remember when I talked about like identify who is a likely buyer of this home, and the listing agent will usually tell you, because they have their ideal client for this house in their head already. Another thing to think about, is this home an investor home? Or is it a home that's likely to sell to somebody who wants to live in it themselves? Actively post it into the groups that are gonna fit that the most. But I would definitely do the Facebook groups. KSL, though, you guys, is way more effective than people give it credit for, at least for me. I got $3 million of business last year from one KSL ad. One. So actually, it's more than 3 million. It was closer to 4 million. One KSL ad for one open house. And this is after the market has shifted.
What did you say?
It was literally just nothing special. I just took the listing and put it in the KSL marketplace. And then I've had other ones though where it's done absolutely nothing. But what I do know is that it's worth it to me to spend the $5 or $10 boost, because law of averages says I'm going to get a fantastic return.
So when you say $4 million on one ad, that's from the listing and leads generated from that?
It's from leads generated from it. So I got a listing because the person who saw that ad came to my open house, and then I sold their home, helped them buy another home, and then I helped them buy investment properties. So same person, but again, all because of open house advertising. Open house is great because it gives you guys the ability to have a listing without actually having a listing. Any questions about this?
So the repeated posting online.
Be careful about this on your personal page. You don't want to piss off your friends.
Yeah, no, but like, how do you keep? So it keeps saying post again, like, so you're posting 4 days a week, but if I've already done one online, so I have my KSL posts and I've already blasted it on the Facebook marketplace and all that jazz, and I've already put it on my page, how do I keep posting it?
So I personally don't repost it. What I do is I boost it.
Okay, That's what I was like.
Yeah.
Yeah. that's
I'll
what I was
boost on KSL. It's more about raising awareness of the open house.
Yeah.
It's not something that you're going to always be able to tie to something immediately happening, but the idea is you want that person to randomly see it.
Yeah.
The other thing too is you're gonna want to identify like the route of where you're gonna put your signs before you have the open house.
I did not. I literally was out that morning. It's like, this is where signs are going. And I didn't know anywhere.
But you do have Google Maps.
My first open house, I was like flying by the seat of my pants. I was like,
Yeah. Oh, it takes way longer to get signs out than you would think.
Yeah, I got there late, but
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Another thing too, if this happens to be your listing, you need to have your pictures finished and edited no later than Wednesday. Because you have to be able to do all your online advertising. If you are holding an open house on Saturday and you get your advertising on Friday, you are setting yourself up for disappointment. Because in particular, if you happen to be boosting with Facebook, they can take 24 hours to even approve your post and your open house is over.
Yeah.
Okay, so really get the boosting done by Wednesday. Okay, and don't feel the need to pay additional money though for every open house you do. Not all houses are necessarily worth that. Be like very mindful of your cost. Like any area of our business, it is very easy to spend a lot of money very quickly, and then they make more money than you do in your own business. So be careful. But do boost it appropriately when it's cheap.
Are you saying, sorry, my client,
You're good.
drama, you know?
Yeah, I get it.
So what are you saying, boost, like, paid?
Yeah, like if you wanted to boost a KSL ad, I've had extremely good success with KSL ads. If you want to boost a KSL ad or boost it in a Facebook advertisement,
If it's doing poorly, or a real fancy one, or a cheap house, or which kind?
the home that's likely to get the most amount of general attention is when I would do that.
Okay, sorry.
And when you're doing it though, you guys set it up in a way though to be lead generating in general, not just that house. Cause then you can run the ad a little bit longer beyond the open house.
Like how?
You could say, you know, come join me at the open house or reach out to me directly to schedule a private showing. The idea is to get them to interact with you either in person at the open house or with you at a showing. But like online conversion though does have a lower conversion rate, so like don't overspend in that area, but do post it. The other thing is when you're at your open house, what should you be doing the moment you're at the open house? You got everything set up, the owners have left, you're sitting in the living room, what are you doing?
Walk through.
You've already walked through,
Oh, you've already walked.
you're literally sitting waiting for your first person. What should you be doing?
Working.
Facebook Live
Oh, okay.
or Instagram or whatever social media tool your network happens to be on the most. Do that, take a picture, be excited and be like, oh my gosh, you guys will not believe this amazing house that I'm holding open house on. And then what you also need to do is everybody in your network who's 10 minutes away from that house, 15 minutes away, text them, say, hey, you guys, I'm working. Work is way more fun when my friends come drop by. You should come over. I have a donut for you. Are they going to buy that house? No. But are you getting one of your 36 or 40 contacts for the year in? Yes. And are they seeing it in the context of you being a realtor? Yes. And are they going to talk about the open house? Yes. So again, it's helping you get in more communication with people. So like ask yourself, am I near my random cousin that I haven't seen forever? Yeah, you're going to invite that cousin to your open house. They're not going to buy the house. There's no pressure to do it, but they're seeing you in the context of being a realtor and not the cousin. And that will help you later on when they think about selling their house. Any questions here? All right. What else do clients like to know? So we have community and neighborhood information. What type of community and neighborhood information do people want to know?
How busy it is.
Such as what, like a street?
Yeah, and like, do people hang out outside a lot or?
Yeah.
Everyone's quiet in the neighborhood?
People do ask that.
Utilities too.
Yep, people want to know about utilities. People want to know what ward they're going to. Okay, so what are you going to tell them when they ask you what ward this house is in?
I'm gonna know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
trick question. Don't respond to that.
They don't know.
Why?
You don't know because it's
Oh,
Isn't it part of
Remember, it's
the
that you don't know.
law thing?
it's a federal housing law. So we can't encourage any sort of biased behavior. My response when people are like, hey, do you know what ward or stake this is in? And being in Utah County, that's a very common question. My response is, You know, I actually have never been to that before, but you're welcome to check it out. I do know though that every neighbor I've spoken to is amazing, because what they're really asking you is, are the people around this house nice? Or they'll want to know, are there a lot of kids in the primary? I
Can you
get,
tell them where to look though, to find that information? Can't tell
they,
them.
if they're asking you that question, they know where to look.
Somebody asked me what the drug problem was. And I actually knew that because all the neighbors had told me. So I.
In that
just-
house specifically?
Next door had been a meth house.
Okay.
And I did say, oh, a few years past,
Uh-huh.
it had been, and these neighbors are lovely and they're working very hard to clean up their poor sad front yard, but you
Yep.
know. Inflation is what I said. I said, they're really lovely
Yep.
neighbors. I've met them and they're just kind and wonderful and you'll really like them.
I have a question. Do people not want to buy meth houses?
Well, apparently they did. They wanted to know what the drug situation was in the neighborhood. Multiple people asked me that.
Yeah. I guess would I be nervous about it being in a drug neighborhood or a drug
Apparently.
house?
They were very concerned and there was apparently 4 houses in the neighborhood that had been drug houses. And I was like, holy crap.
So again, when we're holding the open house, do we want to be taking that home maybe to a different set of buyers? Yes,
Well, it was all cleaned up, so it didn't matter. And I only said just about the
well,
one
that's good.
next door neighbor. And that's what I said. It is.
Get on the ground floor of the neighborhood improving and look at how well this house
That's
is.
what I said.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're lovely and they're working really hard. They were like, terrific. We love that.
Yeah.
That's what they said. And they're when they buy the house.
For sure. You never want to, so is super unethical and even illegal to cover up information about a home. We, however, cannot represent the neighborhood. We don't know all the facts of the neighborhood. And you also don't want to put yourself in a position of liability. The words I don't know is super helpful.
But I didn't want to lie about that one.
No, you don't want to, because then they'll back out of a contract.
Because I totally knew that,
Yeah.
like flat out, and the whole neighborhood knew that.
For sure.
So I was like, I cannot lie about that.
Well, you should never lie,
You
period,
know what I mean?
but
I'm like, I flat out cannot say I didn't
but-
know when I
But
knew.
but what
You-
if you say they're fabulous and they buy the house and they find out that their neighbor is not fabulous?
Oh, they were nice. They were
But I
so
mean,
kind.
Are you opening yourself up to anything?
well, I guess what I would say is keep the conversation about the home and less about the neighborhood. You can say it's a wonderful neighborhood without defining how it's a wonderful.
I
neighborhood.
only talked about one neighbor, that they were
Yeah.
really nice and they were willing to chop down their weeds.
Well, and that's the thing though, you guys, is that during their due diligence, the buyer needs to decide for themselves if the neighborhood's the right fit as well. But I would try to keep the conversation more about the house in the context of, generally speaking, this is a great neighborhood in ways that are obvious to the general public. Side note, don't assume because the neighborhood has had crime issues that it's not an ideal home. Everybody wants a home, not everybody's budget can necessarily afford other neighborhoods. And so you don't want to insult somebody's budget because they can't afford a home in a non-dangerous neighborhood. What they want is stability, and having a home gives you stability.
Or by their family.
Yeah, or by their family. That's extremely common. And you guys, you will have clients buy houses that you would never touch in a million years.
But the family lives there.
Their family lives there and they're happy. And that's really what matters. And I can tell you, I have personally bought homes that you guys would not buy, and I don't regret them. So don't predetermine outcomes for people, okay? That includes judgment. Go ahead.
One of the things I looked into, and just because I didn't buy a house a year ago, so I was in that mindset.
Yep.
Looking on the city planning website,
Mhm.
so you can see maybe upcoming plans of what's gonna be taking place.
Mhm.
And that's also another selling point as far as price goes.
Yeah.
Improvements that are key to the area.
Yeah, you want to be knowledgeable of those things. I think that's really important. Being aware of like new shopping coming nearby, if it's in the middle of nowhere. First, find out if they want to live in the middle of nowhere, and if the answer is no, then bring it up.
Otherwise, don't worry about it.
Let them ask you. But a lot of this, though, you guys, like the things that you're gonna need to know, just listen and then answer. Relocation information, usually they're gonna have a realtor helping them with that. First time home buyer specifics, that goes more to like the lending program, same thing with mortgage. All right, so how are we prospecting in an open house? Can you tell me how you guys have done it? What's worked well for you so far, for those of you that have held them? Good.
Okay, so I actually got this from Julie Flowers.
Okay.
Her thing where it's, her, please, come on in, but it's, you must sign in. It's required by the lenders. That worked like a champ last
Yep.
time. Because when I said, hey, I just need you to sign in because for legal reasons, in case something happens, we have to have it. And it just said on my thing and it said agent's name.
Yep.
And it wasn't a problem at all. And I said, then I can, get in touch with your agent and find out, what you liked and didn't like. And wasn't a problem at all. They were super sweet and real nice. And then, come on in, check
Yeah.
everything out. And all that stuff was not a problem. First time, not so great.
How come?
Just because I was trying, and I know the ones were like, I didn't care. I don't give a crap, that's the thing. And I said, okay, well, great. And I did say, they said we have a lender, and I said, I mean,
An agent.
and I said, I hope your agent finds you the best house that is the best fit for you. And
Yep.
That's what I said to them.
Exactly. I personally like these sign-in sheets, because it allows you to give better feedback to the seller, because the primary reason why we hold open houses is to help the seller. We happen to benefit from doing it as well, but it is to help the seller get feedback. So we tell people, hey, thank you for coming to the open house. I'm so excited that you're here. Please sign in so I can give the seller feedback of the home. They would so appreciate it. They will always sign. The other reason why you want to have a sign-in sheet though is ABC always be closing. So it's a soft close method. But if you ask somebody to just sign in immediately the moment they walk into the house, are you building trust and rapport?
No.
Yeah, so we got to think about like how we're gonna go about that. So how do we build trust and rapport? Somebody walks in the home, what do you do?
Smile and say hi.
Smile and say hi. What else do you do?
Welcome in.
Welcome.
Uh-huh. And then what?
Hey, what brings you out here today? Are you just, coming to look, are you from the neighborhood?
Yep.
How are you? My name is so-and-so,
Yep.
what's your name, blah, blah, blah. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, do all those things. Do not ask them yes or no questions or questions that can be responded with one word. Ask them these digging questions that you were doing that you would really do in a normal buyer's interview. Okay. Another way that you want to build trust and rapport is you want to immediately identify some sort of connection. The faster you can do that, the more rapport you're going to have and the better conversion you'll have. So take the pressure off of them being in the home, make them feel at home in the house, and then just have a normal, genuine conversation about how their day is going so far. And then whatever they talk about in that, just find a way to relate to it. And then bring the topic back to the house and then somehow find a way to tie it into what they've already told you about why this house is a great house. And then ask them, do you want me to walk through with you or do you guys want to explore on your own? That in that time, I let people do yes or no. I also like to have music playing in the background, so that way they think there's noise and they can talk privately for those couples that want to talk privately. But in reality, you have it low enough in a position in the home where you can still hear everything being talked about in the house. Okay.
Would you ever? I mean, I guess I've never thought about really, I kind of want to keep a few eyes on them in the home, because are we responsible if anything
You are.
is stolen or anything
You are.
like that?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure I'd want them heading off on their own.
They're not gonna be on their own. They're not gonna be on their own. You're gonna say, hey, I'm gonna, you still need to have them within eyesight.
Okay.
Okay, but you're not gonna be hovering over them.
What if they want to split up? Like if it's a couple and one wants to go downstairs and one wants to.
They will always do that. That's,
Kind
you're
of
just gonna have to
do
keep an
best.
eye on it and do the best you can. Yeah, it's nothing you can really do about that. You want people to feel natural in the home.
What if you have a lot of families coming in at the same time?
Congratulations.
Awesome.
Yeah, at that point, it just makes the house look really high value and in demand. You're not gonna be able to help everybody and keep an eye on everybody. I don't think that's a really realistic expectation. And the homeowner should not have that expectation on you. That's not really fair. If they're that worried, they need to get cameras in their home. But, like, I mean, if you notice they stole something, you have a problem. But what I was gonna say though, is when you have multiple groups come in, what you wanna do is acknowledge the one group, talk with them. When the second group comes in, greet them and say, I will be with you in just a moment. What brings you in today? Oh, we just saw the sign. Awesome. feel free to go check out XYZ feature of the home. I'll be with you in a second. Send them away from the group that is already with you in case one of those groups decides to be negative. Like negativity is toxic, it's cancer, it'll spread so quick, you got to keep them separate. But engage with them, and then that group will at that point know that you need to acknowledge the other group. You've already given them a heads up of our time here is limited. I am valuable, my house is valuable, I need to go help somebody else. How do we provide value to people while they're in the home?
You ask them what they're looking for in the house. So like what they want to meet on.
Mhm.
Answer their questions, and if you don't know the answer, give them something that really get back to them.
Okay. One way you can provide value is by giving them a printout of the MLS listing sheet. Okay. It should have your contact information on there. The other thing that will happen when you give them the MLS listing sheet is if somebody is really not wanting to talk with you, in other words, it's hard to make a connection. When you hand them that sheet, do not let go of the sheet immediately. Hold on to it for just a second or two longer than you naturally would. All right, and then pull them slightly towards you, so that way they engage with you.
We gotta practice.
Nope,
that.
yeah, we'll practice it. Stand up, I'm not kidding you guys, this works. We're gonna role play. Hey, welcome to the open
Hi,
house.
how are you?
Doing well, so remember, you don't wanna talk to me.
Okay, I'm not talking.
Hey, how are you doing? Welcome to the open house.
Am I talking to you? Yeah,
You-
hi,
You can talk to me. No, I'm glad you're here at the open house. How are you doing?
good,
Good.
thank you.
Hey, so what got you into the open house today? Did you see a sign?
Just saw the sign out front.
Awesome. Well, I don't know if you've seen the listing yet, but if you haven't, here's our sheet. So I have some information for the home here. You just go through the house.
That was smooth, by the
Okay.
way, because you kind of held it up so I could still see
Yeah,
it.
you want them to look at the sheet, so they're not alarmed. But you also don't get so close that you're like this. That's weird. Don't do that. Okay, you want to just be closer. If they're not coming to you, get closer with a normal conversation distance. If they're outside of conversation distance, that's when I would do that. If they're already in it, give them the freaking sheet. Okay. Yeah, again, you want everybody to feel safe, going back to that topic. Okay. Do it in a way, if you're bigger, so I'm bigger, I really try to avoid being like squarely in front of people. Being on the side helps you and you, men. For real though, it'll help. I did door to door for a while. That was one thing I learned very quickly.
That's what I-
Smaller you can make your profile, the safer people will feel, and the more willing they are to engage with you. So be aware of your body language. Other ways that we can provide value. We have the listing sheet. What did we already do in our preparation for the open house? Lending information. So stay in your lane, don't go into lending specifics, but give them the content on your second time talking to them. So you have engagement 1 about the house. Engagement 2 is you can give them lending information, so that way they continue building a rapport with you. And during that process, you already should have gotten their name. And then you'll have them sign in after they've looked at 1 or 2 rooms. Usually do it in the kitchen. Okay. Reasons why you want to do it in the kitchen. Can you guys give me a reason?
Because they spend a lot of time.
Do you want them to,
There's a calendar right up.
there's a counter to write on, you want them to engage with the house. It's also usually gonna be further from the door. Sorry, I got a dry mouth right now. It'll be further away from the front door, usually. So. Anybody have questions about this? How about experiences, good or funny, that you've had when doing prospecting in the home?
Just got back to you yesterday.
Okay.
I let him wander, it was a vacant house, and it was slightly staged, so I
Okay.
didn't have a risk, and I just let him go around the house themselves, I introduced myself, talked to him for a minute while they were upstairs, and then I just let them wander.
Good.
And then when they came back up, we're doing a giveaway right now.
Oh, fun. Oh, yes, this is great.
Yeah, so we're doing giveaway right now, and then I had them bring like feedback on it.
Yep.
Scale of like whatever. And then I was like, okay, my seller, like, my homeowner, would like to feedback, and we're also doing a giveaway. Can you just go ahead and fill this out for me real quick before you take off? Just let me know what you found at the house and much less, so I know.
100%.
what you thought. And they both filled it out, so I got some feedback on it.
Giveaways are great. People will usually give you correct information on that. Another thing when you're doing the capturing information portion is I try to avoid giving business cards. But what I'll do is after they sign in, I'll say, here, let me send you my contact on the number you just wrote. And then you can send them your contact there and then confirm with them. Giveaways will make people really comfortable to give you information. Other thing though, too, like in the prospecting for the open house, I would include door knocking in this. So where should you door knock?
That neighborhood.
Where else? Uh-huh. And probably for me, I've done one other type. If this is like a second home, most likely, I would think of what neighborhood is nearby in the same school that is one house category below it. And then I would go and knock the neighborhood there. And drop off your flyer for that open house, because those people are already likely dreaming of doing their move out.
Things I consider too is if it might be potential for like a first time home buyer situation. And I don't, honestly, I'm not sure if this is allowed really, but in rental communities.
Yep.
Going on there.
Yeah, I would. Door knocking is something I need to get more consistent in doing. But I do know of multiple really high performing agents in this office. We're talking like over $500,000 a year high performing. They door knock.
Do they do it themselves, or do they have people do it?
They will door knock themselves because it's a relationship. And they'll just do it when they have downtime. One other thing I would do too in prospecting is I would consider cold calling that neighborhood. So you can talk to the title company and you can purchase phone numbers for the neighborhood and you can call as well. And then I would also, if you're trying to generate a lead for yourself, like don't do all these things, only pick what you have time for and budget for. You might want to consider like a focused advertising within that area. But talk to your title company and get information. Real Advantage, I believe, has a product where you can purchase some phone numbers. But again, you're cold calling. You may not like cold calling, but cold calling has worked out really well for me. A little less so now because the market's slower, but in general, it's not a bad idea. Good.
How do you find out who's on the do not call list?
It'll say it, they won't give it to you. It'll usually have a do not call. But again, that's like a secondary level of prospecting. Your primary prospecting really needs to be the open house itself, reaching out to the direct community, doing your online ads on KSL, but do door knock the neighborhood. It gives you exposure. And the moment somebody has a neighbor's home for sale, there's literally going to be somebody else thinking about selling their home. Okay. So building trust and rapport, we got to greet everybody that comes in the door. Do not assume somebody is not qualified to buy that house. Like if you start judging, you're going to get yourself into trouble in this job real fast. A, you're probably going to break the law on accident. B, you'll miss out on opportunity because this has happened to me several times. I've fallen victim to this, where I have not adequately engaged with everybody who came into the house. And then what ends up happening? This happened in particular with one of my is a listing I had this year. I didn't engage completely with an unrepresented buyer in the home because I had already determined off of judging that they were not qualified to buy that house. They were qualified to buy that house. They were more qualified than I was to buy that house. So don't judge, engage with everybody equally. And at the end of the day, even if they're not qualified to buy that home, they might have a sister or a brother who they're just there for daydreaming about them moving in, and they are qualified. Don't judge, engage equally. It's also the right thing to do. Engage in conversation. So this really should go without saying. Do we want to sit in the house quietly? Okay, if somebody is inside the home, are we sitting on the couch? what are ways that we can make that bid of connection for those of you who have done therapy? You're making a bit of connection. What are those ways that we can do that with strangers when they come into your home? Good.
So Angie has told us that when they walk in, let them know with 1 or 2 rooms, then you go back in and say, hey, so what are you liking about that house? And then they'll tell you more about that. Okay, cool. And then you like walk away and then wait a few more minutes, then come back and tell them more about it.
Yeah, you don't want to be hovering on them. Give them time, engage with them, talk about whatever they want to talk about, and then talk about the house. And then usually it'll hit kind of a natural ending point. Let it end. It's okay. Walk away, give them space, and just continuously come back. If you can keep them and you having like multiple connections during the open house, it'll become more natural as it progresses, and then they'll really begin to open up. Be positive. This is really big. Don't knock on the neighborhood. Don't knock on the house. You can accept reality and still be positive. Okay, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, anytime anybody wears sports memorabilia.
Yep.
That is my, like, go-to.
Your go-to.
I can instantly be like, oh my gosh, like, you like the Red Sox, like, that's cool, like, they're doing, whatever.
Yep.
So.
That I would agree, and I'm actually very jealous of you because I know nothing about sports. And it is so frustrating. My brother-in-law knows a lot about sports. I'm like, man, you can connect with everybody. I'm like, I know nothing. But what are you really doing though?
Establishing a connection that you kind of care about them.
You're establishing a genuine connection.
Yeah.
You found something in them that you genuinely relate to, and you make the connection based on that.
Yeah.
That's a great point. How can we talk about hard topics with the house while still being positive? So you are doing an open house in a neighborhood known for having crime. How are we positive while not lying and not brushing over things, but still getting the house sold?
I just said, we have new people who moved in. They are working, I mean, he went out his way to tell me, we really, we've done the inside, we're working really hard on the outside, we're sorry it looks bad. And
Yep.
we want it to look nice, but, the neighbor went out his way to tell me. That.
Yep.
And so I told the people, I said, hey, the neighbor said, sorry, his yard looks bad, this used to be a meth house, and we have a new baby, and inflation and stuff, and I said, he, told me to tell people, sorry, his yard looks bad, but they're trying pretty hard. By
Yep.
next year,
You'll be
the yard's
happy.
gonna look great, and it
Yep.
will look good also.
We do want to be careful about making promises on behalf of other people,
Well, I just said.
but
he-
you're speaking
he-
positive to the neighborhood.
Yeah. He said he's trying, that's what I said. He said he's
Exactly.
trying.
And that's always optimistic. I actually really like that example because you just don't know. And at the end of the day, what may bother us may not bother other people. You guys would be so shocked at how often that is the case. It turns out I'm a little way more judgier than I had realized. And then I got this job and I'm like,
Well, it was.
pull the
interesting.
judgment back, man.
I'm with you, cause I looked there and I looked on there, I stood on their back deck and they have this beautiful deck with
Uh-huh.
pergola. And I'm looking and I'm like, bad backyard, bad backyard,
Mhm.
bad backyard, bad backyard. And I'm like, oh, shoot, yeah.
But to that buyer, may be their dream because they didn't even know they could get a
Well, they
backyard.
moved from California, so they're happy. They just wanted out of California, so they're fine.
Yep.
That wasn't their, and we didn't talk about it. It wasn't a concern, or you know what I mean? That's not my concern. It's not, it's not my home. I'm not
Yep.
purchasing it. I'm not looking.
It's
for
not
it.
your money.
It's not anything to do with me. All it is I was there to show them and answer their questions.
Yep, and that's, I think, what's really helpful. Let people bring up their concerns. If you've already established a genuine connection and created that rapport, they will open up to you. Okay. Another thing about being positive, let's say you have a 3-hour open house and at 2.5 hours, it has been raining and no one has come in. How are you handling that?
Well, you don't control it. So.
Yeah, you don't control the weather. Unless you're an X-Men. What's your name? Storm? Yeah. But so you have acceptance.
Yeah,
What else do you do?
you stay there for 3 days.
Yeah. Under no circumstance do you leave early. You do not leave. That is unacceptable.
I have a question for you. How do you, I guess, accept rejection over and over and over? Do you have any tricks for that? Like, and not second guess yourself, like you're doing your best, you're following the plan, but it's just like people aren't engaging or something.
Yeah. I'm gonna answer your question outside of the context of an
Okay.
open house. And give you the same answer. I'm gonna tell you two stories and examples. Rejection is the reality of life. And it's not gonna go away, and it doesn't matter the job you have. But in the context of sales, I did door-to-door sales. That's when I first got into sales. I did it for 5 years year round. This is in 2008, there were no jobs. Okay, I'm in Sacramento, there were even less jobs. Utah has had a lot of benefit that I think not everybody here fully appreciates. I'm in Sacramento, no job, moved down to my parents' house. I'm a little bit stressed. The only job I can get was a door-to-door job. I had never done door-to-door. Once again, I was super judgy. Turned out my grandpa did door-to-door. But anyways, I was like, nobody sells door-to-door, but when you don't have a job, you go door-to-door. And I did not sell a single thing for over a month and a half. Okay, I'm literally going out there for hours and hours and hours and hours and not selling a single thing. You just have to practice acceptance, and you have to be consistent, and you still show up. You practice your scripts, you make them a part of you, so that way it doesn't sound like you're reading a piece of paper, because that's weird. Don't do that. Make it a part of you and just show up. Like, if you just show up to the majority of things, you're going to succeed. Eventually, it's a numbers game. It'll be in your favor. The other thing too is you'll just become so accepting of it that that commission breath will go away and you'll be fine. Another example I want to give. This year, I had 6 transactions in a row blow up in my face. All for things not even related to the market. These were circumstances beyond my or my buyer's control. Extremely deflating. I have 3 children, a wife, I'm a sole income provider. I'm a little bit stressed out during that period. Things are good for the record. But during those 6 transactions blowing up, I was really questioning. I was like, why did I leave tech? Why did I do all these things? You guys, you have to show up. Okay, so be positive, show up, believe in yourself, take up space, and identify the value that you know you can provide. If you do those things, things will work out. Okay.
I was just listening to a podcast this morning. Gary Keller said
Yep.
that the only people who can reject you are the people who are going to be there at your deathbed.
Yep.
And I just thought that was really cool, because it's like, if you learn how to not take rejection personally,
Yep.
then it's a lot easier to just, brush off, I still have my value, I'm gonna keep going.
Yep.
And, those are the only people that really can affect you.
I like that point a lot, because when we're providing value to our clients, is what we are providing to them valuable whether or not they accept it?
Yeah.
The answer is yes. People don't have to accept value from you. And it's important to not expect them to accept that value from you. That's going to be really important when you work with your friends and family. This job is unique. Not all of your friends and family are going to work with you. Are we going to be okay with that?
Yes.
Yeah. And does our relationship with our friends and family still hold value, whether or not they work with you? Yes. Now, if they use you in a negative way and they cut you out, that's a different conversation. But generally speaking, you're going to have friends and family, they will have their reasons of needing to choose a realtor, and usually it's not even about you. So the quicker we can remove our egos, the better. The quicker we can practice acceptance, the better. The longer we stay positive and we stay at the open house the entire time, the better, because you might have that client walk in the door 5 minutes before the open house. And that happened to me too.
The box and I
Mhm.
couldn't get the super to open, and she literally, like, I'd taken my signs up. So I
Yep.
was like, fine, I'm done. Like, I literally been sitting for all day.
Yep.
So I pulled my signs out and she pulled past, and I was like, I knew she was coming to look. Like,
Yep.
oh, hi. Like, I came down. I
Invite
and
'em.
she was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm always late." I was like, no, it's fine. I was like, take your time. I was like, totally can walk through.
Yep.
I was like, do it. I was like, you're fine.
Yep.
And she still signed, filled out a form for me, and like all this.
And did
stuff.
the thing.
Yeah, she did the thing. So.
You guys, it will happen. Like, you might time your open house wrong and somebody will walk in at the end of the day, or it had been raining the entire morning and it finally stopped. And then they come in. My first open house I told you guys about, where I got my listing and my buy. That client actually came in like the last 15 minutes of the open house. We connected over art. So I love art. I paint a lot. I love painting. This client happened to be an artist. I found that out during the open house that she's a professional artist. We connected, and then we provided value, told her about the home and the community, but I learned that what she really wants doesn't fit this house, but I could still help her. So stay and show up. Don't leave early. You made a commitment. Don't break your commitments. Just stay positive. You'll be surprised. I've kind of gone overkill on that topic, but positivity will get you the majority of the job done. All right, stats. So providing value, we need to know all of our market stats and team stats. Personality type. Can we talk about this? What do you guys know about personality types?
But I'm red.
Okay.
Red, blue,
Yeah. I personally, so personality types is something I'm not as well versed in, but I do try to figure out very quickly if people want very direct communication or less direct. For my personality type, I have to be very sensitive to that because I am very direct. You're gonna get you're gonna know. You gotta figure out how people want to communicate and then meet them where they are. It's not about you. It's about selling the house and helping them get a home. At no point are you important in that conversation other than being the tool to get them that. Okay, meet them where they are, understand the personality. Have something offered to the visitors. So I like to do treats. I like to get drinks. I'm a drink person. I intentionally identify brands that tend to create an emotional reaction when choosing drinks because I'm a drink person. I obsess on that. Choose your own thing.
Such as what? What?
I bring Coke Zero and Diet Coke and Pepsi because you will find your soda lover, especially in Utah, where that is an identity right there. I am Team Coke Zero, by the way. Do not ever offer me Diet Coke. I moved on. It's not 2004. Okay. Other thing I bring in is Perrier, like the carbonated water, because I want to find out if they're fancy. Okay. And then I like to talk about fancy things, and then I bring regular water. But you find your things that make it easy for you to naturally
What
connect.
about the trashy people like Mountain Dew? Like me. And Diet Coke.
You're on your
I
own.
like both.
You get Diet Coke and water.
I'm trying to give you a hard time.
I know you are, but you know what? But it is funny though, like, but find a thing that you have a genuine opinion about. I have lots of opinions about drinks. Okay. It makes it easy for me to connect with people, but find a way that you can bring people out of their shell. Yeah, bring treats. So like grab cookies, go to the store. You can get them on clearance, you guys. They're going to be used that day. They don't need to last a week. Get them on clearance. Bring the treats, bring a nice white plate, plain white, and put them on there. It'll make the kitchen feel more welcoming. They'll also stick around longer. Then I am gonna, unfortunately, just so you guys know, I have to end at 11 today. You guys, from what I understand, will be doing prospecting. I have an appointment I have to go to.
Home Goods has all white.
Yeah.
If white ever Home Goods does.
The Dollar Tree also does.
I'm talking if you're buying a nice white. Coat.
Hey, don't judge my Dollar Tree. Christmas decorations. Remember, no judgment.
I'm just, I'm using it in my home.
I'm teasing you.
White.
I know, I'm teasing you.
I just take it from my house.
Yeah, so give them something that they can take away. This is also really nice that they have kids with them. It helps the kids stay occupied. You don't want them to throw a temper tantrum and then what do? They don't talk to you. They leave the home. They're angry and upset. Just don't.
So you really believe not? I've talked to other realtors who say, I don't do anything.
I do believe in that. Now there are certain homes though that I will not do that in, and that is gonna be like very expensive houses. You don't want things that are gonna cause problems in the home. If the home has like all carpet near the kitchen, I don't bring things with frosting. Like be aware of that. But I personally do it. My rule is if I buy it, I want it to be functional for the open house and my family. Even though Diet Coke is just wasted, but
Well, they're probably
I've
getting a
guessed.
drink on the way out, not on the way in, right?
yeah, you're gonna give it to them more on the way out when you're getting their information in the kitchen. Other people though do like to information gather in the beginning. Carl Spencer, I noticed, did this in an open house he held for me. He's like, do you guys know Carl? Oh, you need to meet Carl. Good guy.
He's talking flash.
Super high energy, extremely professional, really, really good guy. Anyways, he likes to do it in the beginning, I noticed. I don't know if he does that on purpose, but I did notice he does that. I have done open houses where I don't have the drinks and whatnot. I just found it's easier for me to use it as a tool. Even if they didn't really care about having it, it's just easier because again, you can give them the drink, same thing as the paper, and it's just easier to engage.
I had a family friend yesterday, they had a young girl, and she was, I'm not really listening for a second, mother. Then let me know, she goes, oh, we've been doing open houses, and so
Yeah.
she knows that she gets snacks if we go to open
Yeah.
houses. I haven't felt like this big.
Yeah, it happens, but if you don't have time to get snacks or you don't have the budget to get a snack, or if the homeowner has requested that, you should probably check that they're okay with having food in the home. If they don't want you to, then, don't, but I personally believe in them. All right, we gotta gather up all of our information, so we have to have the sign-in sheet. Is the sign-in sheet useful if you don't put it into your KW command or whatever CRM you're using? No, completely useless. Is the sign-in sheet useful if you haven't texted everybody who is unrepresented that day, thanking them for taking their time to come to your open house? It still is, but less. You're better off engaging with them immediately before they forget who you are. If you're on an iPhone, make sure your iPhone ID has your picture on it. Okay, and when you send them a contact, make sure that there's a link to your social media page or your website. Yeah, I think we've gone over everything else, sir. Follow up, okay. How many times do you feel like you need to follow up with people to get business? Yeah. Open houses are no exceptions. You need to follow up with everybody. They will have spoken with a million other agents. They'll forget who you are. I know we're all important. I know we are all very, very important people that nobody will ever forget, but your buyer will forget you. They'll forget your name. Okay, that's why the picture is helpful, but still engage with them. Okay. All right, we need to do planning the open house. I want to do the activity, but I unfortunately, guys, I'm gonna have to call it good. I just have like two things I want to go over about holding open houses that weren't on the slides. You not only want to provide value to the potential buyer of the open house, but you need to provide value to the agent who is gifting you the opportunity to do the open house. And you need to provide value to the seller. Okay, because it is their home and they are giving you the opportunity to market their home and potentially bring them a client. When we talk about providing value, it's really important to remember a level of professionalism is expected. Show up like you are selling their most expensive asset, because chances are that house is pretty much all of their wealth. And is in particular family homes, it is likely their retirement plan. Okay, because they're going to downsize. Treat it as if it is that. I know a lot of people like to dismiss our industry and they say, oh, it's just a house. Well, it's not just a house. It is their entire livelihood. It is what they have spent decades working for. Show up like you care. Do not show up in sweats. Do not wear sandals. Show up like you care. Apply that same rule when you're showing up to your buyers for your first appointments. Match them where they feel comfortable engaging, but also be professional when you're on the door. Make sure that you're dressed to sell a house. It matters a lot. Also gather the feedback and the information like Angie had talked about and provide it to the listing agent. There are some client relationships where the listing agent may not have the trust or the seller may not have the trust in the listing agent that they should have. It may or may not be warranted. It happens, and there's nothing that we can do about it. It just sometimes happens. Or their expectations were missed, or they didn't listen to the listing agent. That happens a lot. You'll tell your client something, they may not hear you until you said it 3 or 4 times. It's really important to get feedback and say, hey, we had this many people show up to the open house. We did this to advertise the open house. And then these were the points of feedback that people had about price, condition, and location. And get that to the agent. It'll matter a lot to them, and they will remember you, and they will want you to hold an open house for you again later. So I have sent people home before who have shown up to my open house in casual clothing, and I don't regret it. I was actually really angry about it. But like you are representing the listing agent when you show up to that open house, not just yourself. So keep that in mind. But anyways, do you guys have any ahas? Like, was this beneficial? Do you feel like you have any takeaways? Okay.
This is my 3rd time, but I still got some fun.
Good. Glad to hear it. Oh, let's talk about open house signs. Try to identify a couple of different paths to getting to the open house. When your budget allows it, do try to invest in your own branded open house signs. That way people see your name. It is helpful. But get the cheap signs though, and just put up as many as you can. Okay. And get the red balloons, things like that. Just do the small little things. It adds up.
If you get pastels, it looks like a baby shower.
Yeah. Yeah. And you just want it to catch eye. Now, if you run out of time, you don't have it, like, again, what do we practice? Acceptance. We move on. We do the best we can. The other thing is make sure you budget in enough time to take the open house down and set it up. It takes way longer than you would think. Even when you've been doing it again and again.
The dumb big signs fall over when it's windy.
Mhm.
And only the cheap little flimsy ones actually are left standing.
Do a
We found
mix.
out.
I
Yeah,
actually,
we did both,
Yep.
and they were even with like rocks, dirt
Yeah.
blocks, trying to hold them up, yeah, that wind's too strong.
I have a
Exactly.
question for you. If
Yeah.
you're doing it for an agent and they say, hey, it's gonna be between 11 and 1. Can you say, hey, I wanna be there early, can you make sure it's empty at 10:30 or something, or will they automatically do that? So you're not
Empty of the
showing up at
homeowner?
like, 3 minutes to 11 trying.
I would just set the expectations and say, hey, I usually show up at this time to the open house. Feel free to give the homeowner my phone number or set us up on a group text in case they have questions or concerns. Yeah, I would do that. Yeah, any other questions? And I think the biggest thing, guys, like, have fun. Like, people literally dream of their jobs being this. They don't necessarily realize what is involved in being a realtor. But this is one of the really fun parts of being a realtor, is getting to engage with people. So have fun and be genuine with everybody and make the connections. And if you keep doing it, you should get leads and eventually sell some houses. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Great.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
I'm glad you guys got something out of it.